comic book fans? Welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. Now, unfortunately, again, we don't have a pick of the week this week. I don't know what the dealio is, but hopefully next week, because there's a couple of good books coming out, there will be a pick of the week. But in the meantime, we have a Fast Five, and better to talk about something than to talk about nothing. So let's get this Fast Five started and talk about, from Marvel, the Thanos Imperative number 3. Now, in this issue, it's just full-on galactic space action. It's the front lines of the Cancerverse. They're invading our universe, and it's Rich and all of his allies just trying to go toe-to-toe with these guys. And it seems like you just can't kill these guys. Like, death has no effect on them. And meanwhile, the Guardians of the Galaxy are trying to transport Thanos to Titan, his homeworld, and they're trying to figure out how the whole Cancerverse came to be, how they might be able to defeat it, what key does Captain Marvel play in all this. Really, really cool stuff. And so finally, back on the ground, in the front lines, you have Richard Rider having this huge strike team. The whole plan is to go in there undetected, strike while the iron's hot, and then get the hell out. Just like, it's kind of an Armageddon, the movie type feel, where, you got this small band of troops, and you even have like a montage of just all of them walking shoulder to shoulder. All these badasses about to lay down some serious shit. So, it's a great issue. At the end, you got Drax trying to kill Thanos again, not making it, easy for anyone. It's like people need to just put aside their petty differences and work together if they want to defeat a huge, huge threat like the Cancerverse. Good stuff. If you're a fan of Abnett and Landing's whole cosmic universe, you should be picking this up. If you're not, shame on you. Next up, from Vertigo, we have Daytripper number 9. Now, with Daytripper this issue, there wasn't anything that made me just gush tears, but it was a nice little montage of Bras dreaming. And you see past, present, and future. And it's kind of like, I don't want to compare it to Inception, but you have like dreams within dreams, and they're always changing around. And you gotta wonder, wait, oh wait, I saw this back in like issue 2 or issue 3. It's very, very nice storytelling. You get to see him, talking to his dad, talking to his younger self, working at the paper. Also another, like, what if I chose this instead of this? You see that the plane comes up, his book tour, all this stuff. And he is the writer of his own story at the end. You find out that his whole mission is to understand where he came from and where he wants to go from there. It was just very nice and touching. The art's gorgeous as usual, and there's only one more issue left. I have a feeling I might be crying like a baby for issue 10, but in the meantime, pick up issue number 9. You'll be happy that you did. Next up, from IDW, we have Strange Science Fantasy number 2. Now, when number 1 came out by Scott Morris, I was intrigued. I was interested. And sure enough, the second one came out, and it's just completely new stories every issue. This one fits around the Shogunate, and it's basically, there's this little fishing village in feudal Japan. It's getting overrun by all these creatures from the sea and from space. And so with the combined forces of, science and magic and mystical powers comes the Shogunate, and he is on a quest. He visits the cosmics. There's this one cosmic mind being that tells him he has to defeat the Knucklehead in order for all this, monsters invading to stop happen. So he finds this Knucklehead, which is kind of like this mythical beast who's been around for ages on end. And you find out the backstory from the Knucklehead that he was actually the good guy in this situation. His girlfriend was stolen and crushed by the cosmic mind, and now the Shogunate and the Knucklehead work together to defeat the Cosmic Mind, and then a black hole forms. They get sucked into the black hole, but the fishing village is left unharmed, and they are remembered through legend. But it's just cool art, cool concept of like this half Shogun warrior, half the astronaut, the Shogunate. Pretty cool stuff. $4, I think it's worth the money. I had lots of fun and pretty colors, and it has that nice, cool, like eerie, creepy, Strange Tales type feeling of comic books way back when. Next up from DC, we have Batgirl number 13. Now, Batgirl is one of those titles where I always have fun. I'll always read it because the dialogue, I love what they do with the character. She used to be just battered around as like, oh, she's just spoiler, who cares? I think she really latches on to the mantelpiece in the Batgirl, in the whole Bat family. And basically, in this issue, we have her trying to adjust to college life, being, seen on campus, so like, oh, you know her, she goes to school here. But there's a shootout happening downtown. She's the only one, she's the closest one, so it's her and Proxy. Oracle's on a Birds of Prey mission, and Birds of Prey came out this week, so that's where she's probably at, that current storyline. So Proxy's giving her all the info, all the updates, where this guy's going. They track him down to an alley, because there's a huge shootout with the police, track him inside of a bank, and it's Clayface. She's after Clayface. he almost hurt Detective Gage, who she kind of has a crush on. And so then it's a whole fight in the bank. Clayface turns into Batgirl, so then it's like, who's the real Batgirl? You know, when the cops try to shoot. And so the real Batgirl does a smart thing and says, shoot me, because only she would be crazy enough to say, hey, shoot me in order to find the doppelganger. So they defeat Clayface with a nice little science where he's all wet from the sprinklers, throw the freeze batarang at him, and then he just, in one big solid form of ice. And then it's just a nice little fun issue. It's a one-shot. If you're not familiar with the Batgirl title, you can pick this up and have a fun time regardless. And finally this week from Image, we have Morning Glories #1. Now this was an interesting issue. It intrigued me, and I will stay on for #2. But basically you get a double-sized issue for $4, and it's from Nick Spencer and Joe Isima. Basically, it starts off with this school, and it's obviously a school for gifted youngsters, and not like with mutant abilities, I mean, but like really, really super smart kids. And these two kids in particular are trying to escape this place, and there's no escaping, it seems. And there's some phantom guy who makes sure that they stay there, and you're thinking, oh, what the hell's going on? Flash forward to the present, where they they accept 6 new children, and they're all from different fields of study. They're all super smart in their own unique way. So they all room together, 3 boys, 3 girls, and then they finally discover that they all have the same birthday, and apparently through the universe there's some harmonious rhythm or algorithm on how they choose their students, and this one birthday in particular is apparently when all these smart kids were born. So they're accepted, they're going to go off into their fields, whether it be physics or whatnot, but you gotta wonder what's up with this whole school. Why can't they escape? What's their real purpose for this school? It was really, really interesting. But basically, it's a whole school to make them feel like they can explore their full potential without any restrictions. So it's kind of like Fantastic Four meets X-Men in that whole universe, of that whole setting of all these smart kids together. But now they're apparently trying to figure out how to get out. Intriguing stuff. I'll definitely stay on for the second issue, but you should check it out. Apparently, I heard that it's already sold out. So something must be up. People, word spreads fast. So, get on that as soon as possible. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, you can see the Book of the Month reviews. You can see the special episodes that I've done, like Scott Pilgrim just came out. And you can read Geeky Talky, not read, but listen to Geeky Talky, the audio version of the podcast. And if you want to help other people, want to help the show out, go to iTunes and leave a review for either Geeky Talky or Cammy's Comic Corner, and that'll help more people, experience the wonder that is me, Cammy. Also, if you like any of the kick-ass t-shirts that you usually see me wearing, head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net. The deal going on for the month of August is buy any 2 t-shirts and get the 3rd one free. With a deal like that, how can you go wrong? There's only one name that I trust when it comes to comic book t-shirts, and that's Kelly at deadlinegraphics.net. And also a big shout out to Rising Sun Creations at rsc-online.com. They specialize in the best of manga, US comic books, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan, all conveniently located online at rsc-online.com. And many of the comics that I discussed this episode, you can get at the site. So thanks again for being a sponsor. So Scott Pilgrim came out this weekend. Fantastic movie. I've already seen it twice, so 3 times altogether. But I did a nice little video show discussing what Scott Pilgrim is and why you should read it. And also I did a hour-long whole roundtable discussion on Geeky Talky, episode 25, of in-depth, spoiler-filled discussion of the movie, video game soundtrack, comic book series, etc. So go check that out, because this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy, and Scott Pilgrim rules my world. What can I say?